There are a great deal of changes in Incoterms 2020. One of the biggest changes is how we're actually laying them out and how we're explaining to people how to use them. And there's lots more clarity on that, and that's making a huge difference. So the way the booklets are laid out, you can actually look at under one set of terms to find out whose responsibilities they are, but also there's another set that would tell you more about the documentation and what that really means. So there's something broken down into the modes, but there's also something broken down into what we call the first A10, which is the seller's responsibilities, and that starts off with the basic obligations and goes all the way through to the costs and who pays what. And I think that's a really useful way of doing it. The layman doesn't always understand what those implications are, and they don't always understand where to use Incoterms. I think that's a really important part. It goes back to this thing I often suggest to people, that if they're going to use Incoterms as part of their contracts, that actually on their website under the terms and conditions there should be another page referring to Incoterms, so that people have it absolutely clear under what terms they're being quoted. Because if you can get it straight right at the very beginning, that's when you avoid disputes later on. The major thing that's really changed within Incoterms is that we've now changed DAT, which is delivered at terminal, to DPU, which is delivered duty paid unloaded. And once you've got the unloaded issue there, you are actually in a different world altogether, and it's all about the destination that you're talking about. So it might be delivered to one point but unloaded somewhere else. So it's about making sure that there's a clarity there in everything that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, typically they go into a legal contract. I think it can be problematic. Companies increasingly don't use contracts, and that's a problem. So we are trying to help companies use the right Incoterms in whatever terms and conditions or heads of terms or sort of light touch contracts. The ICC has a model contract, which is a sort of a template for anyone in the world to use, particularly for small companies. But in the UK, it's not uncommon for companies just to be trading on invoices and paperwork that's not legally binding. Actually, it's quite surprising. So we've sort of partnered up with a company called Open Borders Direct this year and launched a world first, actually, an online platform that allows companies to walk them through the process and almost select the right Incoterm for them, and allow them to select whatever the sort of contract form they want, either their own contract form or terms and conditions, heads of terms, or whatever that might be, to try and make it a bit easier for companies to understand what to do. And also take the thinking away. You don't want to read a book if you're a CEO or a sales manager in an SME. You just want to know what's the Incoterm I should be using, and you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money on a lawyer. We need to make that a lot easier, so that's what we're trying to do.